You can tell that Pokémon have been trying to improve their games over the years, and even try their best to include little improvements every now and then. However, there is plenty that hasn't really had the update that it needed, and in some cases, has gotten even worse than before. So, I want to do the opposite of my last video, and cover some of the pretty noticeable downgrades throughout the Pokémon games. This video isn't just me complaining about the Pokémon games lately, more pointing out things that Pokémon can hopefully make better for their next game. Starting with some Pokémon models that looked way worse than their sprites. TMs becoming permanent, and then not becoming permanent anymore. Some shiny Pokémon that looked way better as sprites than models. The EXP share being turned on forever, no way to turn it off. Come on, there at least should be a toggle. Evolutions that were taken away from us. Megas are gone. Some evolutions didn't return in Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. Come on, at least bring back Megas. Triple battles and rotation battles, introduced in Gen 5, and haven't returned since Gen 6. We're playing Pokémon on a more powerful console now. I think it's time to bring them back. The Battle Frontier, which hasn't returned since Gen 4. One of the absolute best features of any Pokémon game that definitely needs to return. Leaving out obvious improvements to Pokémon games. For example, basically no Platinum content in the Diamond and Pearl remakes. No Battle Frontier, no Distortion World. Come on, this is like the bare minimum for remakes. Nerfing Pokémon moves a bit too hard. Dark Void, for example, had its accuracy changed from 80% to 50%. But also doesn't work on Smeagol. It didn't need both of these nerfs, just one. The move Hidden Power has also been nerfed in a bit of a different way, as a couple of generations ago, Pokémon pretty much can't learn it. Wonder Trade, one of the best features of any Pokémon game, now being called Surprise Trade. Wonder Trade was a way better name. Starter Pokémon, getting an official name, First Partner Pokémon. That's lame. Pokémon that were made as events that never got added. The Arceus event in Diamond and Pearl, AZ's Floette, come on, where are they? Legends Arceus was a great game that brought a lot of improvements to Pokémon, outside of the fact that we can't battle with friends. I understand why giving the new battle system, but come on, they could have implemented it somehow. Cutting both Pokémon and Pokémon moves from future Pokémon games. Again, understand why, but I feel like we're at a point now where there isn't much of an excuse to cut Pokémon anymore. If other games can fit hundreds, if not thousands of creatures, Game Freak can definitely fit all their Pokémon. The Pokémon TCG getting rid of the Fairy type. In Mystery Dungeon, you had the option of attacking with moves that used PP, or using a basic attack. They eventually got rid of the basic attack, and now you're forced to use moves that use PP. As someone who played the OG Blue Rescue team, this was a massive letdown. As fun as Pokémon games are on the Switch, I kind of missed the DS days where we had two screens to work with. Good time. Shiny locking Pokémon. Seriously, there is absolutely no reason for this. Please stop. Shinies that are way too easy to get. I am all for making new shiny hunting methods, but being able to manipulate the odds to make them this high just doesn't make shiny Pokémon feel nearly as special as they once were. In Gen 1, Hyper Beam not needing to recharge if it KO'd the opponent. I don't care if this made the move overpowered, it was a really cool feature, and in my opinion, would be fine if they brought it back. Changing the catchphrase of Pokémon from gotta catch 'em all to train on. Yeah, gotta catch 'em all is way better. Changing the PSS, player search system, to the Festival Plaza. Maybe the biggest downgrade in Pokémon history. Pikachu going from this to this. I think we all liked Fat Pikachu more. Catching Pokémon in Legends Arceus. Massive improvement. Then going back to regular catching in Scarlet and Violet. Yeah, I think we should have kept the Legends Arceus catching method. The anime Pokémon protagonists going from Ash to these guys. Yeah, I don't think they're gonna hold a candle to Ash if I'm being real. Evolutions that turn out to be worse than the regular form. Or in this case, Mega Evolution. Mythical Pokémon that are just given away to you, instead of having to do something for them. Was way more fun back then. Although Pokémon is getting a bit better now. Graphics. I think we can all agree, the new Pokémon Snap looks much better than Scarlet and Violet. Hell, some people even think Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee looks better than Scarlet and Violet. Hopefully this won't be that much of an issue for long. Pokemon routes, in my opinion, are kind of getting worse. They're less memorable, the music isn't as fun. I mean, compare Kanto Route 1 to Kalos Route 1. Major downgrade. The Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl speedrun. Originally, this game could be beaten in 15 minutes. That is kind of funny, but after a patch, this 15-minute run was removed. Massive disappointment in my opinion. The Sword and Shield DLC, believe it or not, made the regular game a little bit slower. That also affected the speedrun by around 90 seconds. That's kinda crazy. The shiny jingle being added in Legends Arceus, and then removed for Scarlet and Violet. It was just nice to hear, and let us know that a shiny definitely popped up. Pokemon that look worse in their shiny form. Still not the biggest fan of Infernape. The first Pokemon movie being remade into this. I'm sorry, but this film is probably one of the ugliest 3D films I've seen. Remote raid passes in Pokemon Go. They were a somewhat reasonable price. Now they're almost double. Not cool. Pokemon cartridges. Remembered when they were coloured? It was a really fun aesthetic. Now they're just regular Switch cases. Come on, they can do the same as before. Pokemon rivals going from these guys to these guys. Pokemon Worlds getting rid of Pokken. I wasn't really that big into Pokken, but it gave a bit more variety to the show. We don't really have a Pokemon fighting game, so it was a nice inclusion for people who do play. The bug type. Getting even worse as the fairy type came out. I could also mention the other types that got nerfed by fairy type, but specifically bug type, because bug type was already weak. Something that a lot of people have had a problem with. Starter Pokemon becoming even more human-like. I know for a fact some are getting kind of sick of it. Not getting a champion as good as Cynthia since Gen 4 doesn't help that quite a few of them have been pretty easy in comparison. Catching Pokemon regularly to catching in Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. This needed fixing pretty bad. Ever since Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl, I think it's safe to say most people aren't that excited for remakes anymore. But if you know if it does happen, hopefully it won't be that much of a letdown. Post-game in Pokemon games arguably getting worse as well. DLC doesn't count. Like compare the post-game to Gold and Silver, where you got to go back to Kanto, to X and Y, which didn't have much at all. Hyper Potions. Massive downgrade. Did they need to make it worse? I don't know. Not being able to nickname Pokemon cool things anymore. Pokemon abilities receiving a nerf that makes the Pokemon that has it completely useless. RIP Talonflame. Secret bases going from this to this. Like, what's the point? Pokemon that look worse in plush form. Beta Pokemon that look better than the final form. I personally am a huge fan of Beta Girafarig. How some Pokemon looked in the Detective Pikachu movie. A couple primary examples I can think of are Charizard and Gengar. These guys looked pretty terrible back then, and yeah, their designs have not held up since. And the biggest downgrade in Pokemon history is going from the best firefighting type to the absolute worst firefighting type. Okay, I don't actually hate Ember, but compared to Infernape, massive downgrade. And those are 50 of the biggest downgrades we've seen in Pokemon so far. Hopefully we'll see less of them as Pokemon goes on, and if you did enjoy, please do leave a like, as it does help the video out. Subscribe for more Pokemon videos in the future, and until next time, thank you so much for watching.